Welcome to Hollywood Cemetery. Located in Richmond, Virginia since 1849, this historic cemetery houses two of Richmond's best ghost stories, along with what is undeniably Richmond's most well-known urban legend, the Hollywood Cemetery Vampire. Before we jump in, let me tell you what this short film is and what it is not. This is a visual tour of Hollywood Cemetery, focusing almost solely on the three aforementioned paranormal areas, a show and tell of spooky stuff. This is not, however, me walking around in a cemetery with a video camera calling out, "Speak to me, O spirits of the departed." I'm not trying to show any proof of the paranormal, but rather show these real-life locations and tell of the myths and legends that surround them. That being said, let's begin our journey into Hollywood Cemetery. Our first destination, the Confederate Pyramid. The Confederate Pyramid was completed in 1869 as a memorial to the 18,000-plus Confederate soldiers who died during the Civil War. With that many lives lost, some say you're bound to have some restless souls, and that's where we get the Confederate Pyramid's myth. It has been reported that people have heard voices and moaning coming from the pyramid in the early morning and late evening, and others have claimed to have felt cold spots. While I was near the pyramid, some flies landed on my legs and wouldn't leave me alone, but then did after I left the pyramid. But that's as close to a paranormal experience as I had at the pyramid. Our next stop is at the grave of a young girl whose last name is Rhys, and there's disagreement about her first name. Regardless, the myth that surrounds her grave focuses on the cast iron Newfoundland dog, which stands guard over her grave. Now, there are multiple versions as to how the dog got to the cemetery. Some say a drugstore owner posthumously gifted the dog to the girl because she would play with it when she and her family passed by it while she was still alive. There are alternate versions, but they all contain those same elements. The girl loved the dog when she was alive, so the dog was gifted to her or acquired for her after she passed on. On to the supernatural legends. Some say that they feel a threatening presence when they get close to the grave, as if the dog is trying to scare them away. Some claim that the dog moves, that they'll walk by the dog and see it facing one way, but then discover it facing another when they walk back by it. The other legend is that people hear dogs or a single dog running around and playing in the cemetery at night. Though this particular dog is the most famous at Hollywood Cemetery, it seems to be that there is a running theme of dogs at the cemetery. Needless to say, I did not personally experience any of these phenomena with ghost dogs while I was at the cemetery. And on to our final destination, the tomb of W.W. Poole. Just looking at the tomb, it's understandable why someone would say it had a spooky or supernatural air about it. The legend is that this tomb is the home to a vampire. In 1925, there was a massive collapse in the Churchill Tunnel nearby. Legend says that after the collapse, a creature with pointy fangs emerged from the collapse, and it was covered in blood. The creature then fled the people who were near the wreckage and made it into Hollywood Cemetery. The creature ultimately escaped the crowd by sealing itself inside of W.W. Poole's tomb. The reality of the situation is that there was a tunnel collapse, and someone did crawl out of the wreckage, but it wasn't a vampire. It was a man named Benjamin Mosby. Mr. Mosby had been burned, almost burned to death, during the collapse. And in the collapse, he had his teeth knocked out or chipped out. So when he did crawl out of the rubble, people saw a horrific figure covered in blood and with strange teeth. Benjamin Mosby actually died around a day later from his injuries. From there, the legend grew. And there are no records of any sort of a chase, so even though the urban legend of the Richmond vampire is one of the most spooky and fun, its bubble is easily busted. Regardless as to whether or not the cemetery houses a vampire, ghosts, or the playful spirits of dogs, it's a beautiful, spooky, scenic, and creepy place.
A Grease and Lock Family Production.